Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Starving Podcast. This is your host, Justin Romer. I'm going to introduce some of our sponsors. The first is GenoPalette. They are a DNA nutrition company. They analyze your genes, and essentially they tell you what DNA you have that might predispose you to having a vitamin A deficiency or being sensitive to gluten. So a lot of information coming out about our genes and how individual we are. And this could reflect what your nutrition plan should look like. So head over to GenoPalette or the link in our bio and get $20 off your order. X Endurance is our supplement sponsor. They are all third-party informed sport tested products. Okay, they have everything you might need: hydration, immune support, creatine, protein, omega D3. Obviously, we know having a healthy immune system is extremely important, especially at a time like this. So head over to X Endurance or the link in our bio and get 10% off your first order. Our third sponsor is Performance Sleep. This is the most comfortable mattress I've ever slept on, and they're extremely affordable. So if you need a mattress of all various sizes, from twin up to California King, get $75 off your order. Get over to the link in our bio to get more information about the Performance Sleep beds and how they help people essentially recover from the rigorous training that you're doing on a daily basis. Dad Fitness Online is run by some of the best CrossFit athletes in the world, the Smith brothers, Dane and Ben, as well as Adam Klink. Dad Fitness Online offers an elegant solution to athletes, moms, dads, grandparents, anyone around the world that doesn't have the time or the money to travel over to a gym every day and get in the requirement amount of fitness to obviously support their health and performance goals. So if you are looking for easy home workouts and you want to contact and work with some of the best athletes in the world, head over to Dad Fitness Online or the link in the bio and get some more information about their online program. Our last sponsor is Consistency Breeds Growth. This company is essentially a customized nutrition company that works with athletes all around the world. Okay, we work with very high-level athletes as well as weekend warriors, moms and dads. So if you want a customized nutrition plan, not a cookie cutter plan, let us do an assessment on you. We'll figure out what exactly you need and maybe even couple this with the GenoPalette data, which is the DNA data I mentioned in the beginning when we introduced our sponsors, to really find the perfect diet for you. It's not something that's going to happen overnight, but if we can get closer and closer to eating for your genes and helping you find the best customized approach, that we feel is the future of nutrition. So head over to the link in our bio, get 15% off, working with one of our high-end coaches. Today we have a special guest, Sam Kwant. He is a three-time CrossFit Games athlete, and we're going to be talking about a lot of different things today, including the recent changes with CrossFit, how CrossFit athletes can begin to finally start to become professional athletes where they get paid. So please stay tuned.
It's science.
Hey Sam, what's up, dude? How's it going?
Good, how you doing, man?
Dude, why are you so tired?
Dude, because I just woke up like a half an hour ago.
So for those of you that don't know, Sam is on the West Coast and I am on the East Coast, so we're 3 hours different here, and I made him wake up a little bit earlier than he tends to run the podcast.
Sunday morning, dude. What the heck?
It's your rest day, you know? You going to do any training today?
No, but that's my sleeping day, dude.
Yeah, I talked to a lot of people about this, about how much high-level athletes like yourself should be sleeping, and people they absolutely seem, especially up-and-coming athletes like prior regional athletes and sanctional athletes that we work with on nutrition and programming and stuff. And I'm like, you need to sleep 9 to 11 hours a night. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, you got to sleep 9 to 11 hours. And I tell them about, obviously, stories with some of the, athletes like yourself and how much you're sleeping and what you do to prioritize this. It is extremely important.
You just got to have like a routine for it. That's the important thing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even to the point to where I have athletes setting alarms on their phone an hour before bed to get away from blue light, which includes the TV, obviously social media, yeah, like you said, finding a routine like every day, and you want to stay on the same schedule. Like even if you wake up at 6 a.m. during the week, you don't want to start waking up at 10 a.m. on Saturday and Sunday. You
Hmm.
got to try to find an hour window where like everything sort of stays on the same schedule. Now
What do you tell people with a newborn?
no, dude, I was just about to ask you about that. So, uh,
Or shoot, what about Dane with twins, dude? I can't imagine that.
yeah, dude, you know what? This is funny because I never thought I would be coaching when I started this business. I never thought I would be coaching three 24-year-olds, Dane, Smith, you, and Saxon. Um, you guys are wild, but I'm hoping, maybe, I don't know, maybe Saxon and Taylor have something on the way. Who knows?
Yeah,
But
who knows? Who knows?
it's we'll tell. But there's got to be something in the pudding, something in this nutrition going on. If all three of you have
Must
kids as
be.
you start working with me on this, but yeah,
Shoot.
congratulations, obviously,
Yeah, thanks.
on your newborn. Tell me a little bit about how that's changed your schedule, and with your training, your nutrition, and stuff like that.
Um, it hasn't changed it too terribly much. Obviously, at night it gets a little interesting, especially the first couple weeks when he wasn't sleeping great. But at this point, my wife's been great and she's taken pretty much over the nighttime stuff. But in the past like month or so, he pretty much sleeps. I mean, through the night, but then a couple times got to get up and feed him. But there's not really any crying at night or anything like that. But the first month was definitely interesting with just crying and
Yeah,
yeah, you kind of can imagine how it was.
yeah,
But
no,
it's been nice. He's gotten in a routine, and he's what 2 months old.
right.
Yeah.
That's good at least because I know. I mean, for now, you've been training basically full time from home.
Well, it's at my parents' shop, so it's like a 15-minute drive. But I mean,
Okay,
there's we can bring him there, and then they'll watch him too if my wife wants to get a workout in. So it's pretty convenient.
right. Yeah, that's good, and I'm sure the grandparents love
Oh
to
yeah. Oh
hang
heck
out with
yeah,
them.
they're all about it. All my siblings are all about it too. So
Yeah,
definitely a
that's
lot of
great.
babysitters there.
Yeah, that's awesome. Um, so, for those of you that don't know, Sam is a three-time CrossFit Games athlete as an individual. And he was 16 at the games in 2016, 20th at the games in 2017. In 2019, you were 13th, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um, so, and I think that personally, you're the dark horse of the male division. I think that you've been around and you've been at the games for a long time, and for some reason or another, you fall underneath the radar, and then you show up every year. You're consistent every year, and yeah, it's cool to watch you just lurk in the background and just sneak up on people
Yeah.
like a honey badger, dude.
There we go. Heck yeah, I like that.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, so like you said, you are essentially training full time. Like that's your main job. You don't
Yep.
have
Yep.
any type of other work that you're currently doing.
I work at the gym a little bit, but other than that, yeah, it's pretty much full time training.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think this is something that a lot of CrossFit athletes they want to get to a position where they can do this.
Hmm.
It's extremely difficult, and we'll go over a little bit of that, um, in a minute. But in regards to your nutrition, I mean, this gives you
Hmm.
time to like for you and your wife to prep food for you to make sure you're constantly fueled. What has it been like, sort of, as you started working with me over almost a year ago now? It was right after the games last
Yeah,
year.
it has been almost a year, huh?
Yeah, it's been almost a year because yeah, after the games last year, we sort of got in contact, and
Hmm.
you really wanted to figure out, in terms of your performance, purely performance based, what you can do with your nutrition. So
Yeah,
what's that like?
it's definitely been helpful for me. Honestly, it's been easier, just knowing exactly when I should eat and what I should eat. And I definitely noticed a difference with like my afternoon sessions. I definitely wasn't getting enough carbs in. The morning session feels about the same, but like I said, the afternoon session, I feel like I have a lot more energy than I used to, and I actually can like attack workouts rather than like kind of just get through the afternoon session. So for the performance side, that's what's helped a ton. I mean, and that's a big difference being able to attack 2 sessions rather than just 1 session.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you're training and being able to push at the intensity and doing the volume that you're doing, you know, you have to have close to 2.5 to 3 grams per pound of body weight with carbohydrates. And I think that's something that's extremely intimidating to a lot of athletes. It's very difficult and becomes really a full-time job to get in the appropriate amount of carbohydrates, clean carbohydrates, which is why, every now and then we do incorporate those refeed meals where you can go outside the scope of the food composition that we typically give you guys, which, could be pancakes, maple syrup, these types of things. Because that's really, it makes things easier for you guys to get in the requirement and actually more beneficial than under eating, So I think that was huge for you. And then obviously, before we started, it's extremely common for some athletes to have iron deficiencies, and you had an iron deficiency or have an iron deficiency.
Yeah.
And iron is extremely important, obviously, for oxygen transport, which you can imagine in the blood. So when you're doing, aerobic or even anaerobic based workouts, your red blood cells transport oxygen throughout the body, and they fill, proteins called hemoglobin, and each hemoglobin binds an iron. And if there isn't enough iron, you can imagine that this is detrimental to performance. So we obviously, make sure that we take a multifaceted approach to, obviously you're taking dietary iron, as recommended. And then also, there are other foods that inhibit the absorption of iron, which includes caffeine and other things like that. So we have to make sure that we as caffeine is great as a stimulant, you can't be drinking 5 cups of it because, that obviously makes things difficult for you. But yeah, this is obviously a common thing with women as well, with the iron absorption and stuff. So for high-level athletes that are training at really high intensities, they can become deficient in iron. So if anyone else out there experiences this, or goes to the doctor and gets the blood work done, and they find that their iron levels are low, you may speak with your doctor about it. So I know we took that approach as well with your nutrition. I think overall your body weight stays about the same each week, but you're able to perform at a higher intensity.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That iron can be really annoying. That's kind of what happened. I was at the games even in 2017. That's when I was iron deficient and didn't know it, and that was pretty rough.
Yeah,
it was really rough.
Yeah, that's absolutely insane. Yeah. I couldn't imagine. In the symptoms like of iron deficiency, you're very like tired, lethargic, and things like that. Any other symptoms you typically experience? I mean, you obviously feel drained during workouts too, probably.
Just felt like crap. There's nothing else. Just kind of what you said. Just felt like garbage.
Crap. Yeah.
Yep. Pretty much felt like I was going through the games, even though I wasn't even at the games yet.
Yeah. I wonder if you didn't take your iron for like a week, if I could beat you in a workout. Probably not.
We can make that happen and find out after the games.
After the games.
I'm not going to stop taking it now.
No, definitely not. So obviously, that there's been a lot of changes in the CrossFit community. Greg Glassman made insensitive comments regarding the pandemic and other events going on within the United States. And since then, a lot of athletes, CrossFit gyms have collaborated together and decided that they wanted to make a change. They made Dave Castro the CEO, and Greg Glassman's still 100% owner, and this obviously wasn't enough. So, and then Andy Stump obviously came out with the podcast, who was the pilot to Greg Glassman, and I believe he was a former Navy SEAL, and discussed the culture at CrossFit HQ. And this obviously made people even more enraged. So since then, Eric Rosa has become the new CrossFit CEO and also the 100% owner. So these are some great changes that have been happening, based on the current events,
Yeah, definitely. I've been on some calls with Eric, and he seems like a really cool guy. I'm excited that he's taken it over and kind of his like thoughts for it. So I have no complaints with him. I'm excited about it in the future for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he really came in a big spot and took over something with a lot of risk. I mean, a lot of people are really
Yeah.
upset, obviously. And, he came in and hopefully saved the games because so many athletes were not going to partake in the games this year based on the events. So it's really great that he came in. And, I've seen a lot of things online where he does he's a very passionate guy about the things that he does. He's a great dad, which obviously you resonate with now. And,
Definitely.
he does a lot of charity work. And hopefully, it seems like his mission is to make things more inclusive for people and
Hmm.
for inner city communities and other people to start getting, all different ethnicities, cultures, people, um, and maybe even people with lower income in lower income communities to be able to participate in something that's supposed to be, um,
Totally
obviously,
inclusive. Yeah. Hmm.
yeah, something where everybody can participate and reap the benefits of the health and fitness. That's one thing Greg got right. For the
Hmm.
most part, obviously, I'm not completely aligned with the way he wants to go about the nutritional aspect, but it does have people eating better and improving their health. There's no doubt
Hmm.
about that. So
Oh, definitely, definitely.
yeah, so you want everyone involved in it, and how to get those people involved. I hope is something and a mission that they're truly working on over at CrossFit HQ.
Yeah, there's some exciting things to come, I think, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Um, so obviously, have you heard any updates about the games? I know that they pushed back everything, and is that still going to be happening after the pushback date, or and
Yeah,
what's
so
going?
it's supposed to be, I mean, I pretty much know the same as you right now. It's supposed to, it's 7 weeks pushback.
Okay, excellent.
So
And
like
then
what, September 14th, I think.
yeah, in September, and then
Hmm.
also
At the ranch.
at the ranch. Yeah,
Yep.
that's going to be awesome. That's going to be awesome. I can't
It's gonna
wait
be
for
hot.
that. And I guess they still aren't allowing spectators.
Nope. Mm-mm.
No
I,
spectators.
yep, no spectators, just, I'm assuming just judges and us.
Yeah, judges and you guys. Maybe no family, no coaches, anything like
Yeah.
that.
Mm,
So it's gonna be
that'll,
crazy. It's
gonna
gonna
be
be
crazy
crazy.
for sure.
What
I do know we have to do a COVID test
mm-hmm,
before we leave, and then we have to get tested again there. So
right.
that's one thing I know.
And
Should be
possibly
good.
even between different events and who knows what they're gonna do.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're gonna regulate it the way I guess that they need to and you're just gonna have to go with it, you know.
Yep, exactly. That'll suck if one of us comes down with it, and then what?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, if they're obviously we know that there's mixed views out there about how contagious the virus is, but it's
Hmm.
obvious that someone could be asymptomatic and
Yep.
still give it to someone else. So it's not as easy, which is why the testing is in place. So hopefully, they can test people at like you said at the beginning, and then getting there after their plane ride and doing everything that way to monitor it. I'm wondering what's going to happen with the Open now that the games is pushed back. I mean, are they going to really
Um,
make athletes go September and then start the Open in October? I mean, that's kind of
I'm
insane.
assuming they'll push it back. That's my guess, but
Yeah,
who knows? That's gonna be rough if they don't.
yeah. I mean, it takes in my opinion, working with you and obviously other games athletes, that it takes over a month typically to completely recover from the games. You know,
Yeah, seriously,
so
if not
um,
more.
yeah, right.
It's rough. Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of something we will have to continue to look out for. So
Hmm. I wonder
now,
where they would announce if they're changing the open or not. I'm
yeah,
not sure.
yeah, it's a good question. I'll let you know if I find
Yeah, okay.
anything out, but yeah, I'll be the
Perfect.
same as you. We'll see it somewhere on
On
Instagram.
Instagram, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. Now, yeah, the sport itself obviously has grown significantly since 2009, but there's still definitely a missing piece for individual athletes. And obviously, you have the ability to train at home full time, um, which is which is awesome. And I know a lot of athletes they want to do that because you know you guys are professional athletes, in my opinion. You guys train like professional athletes. So I definitely want to go over, what are some of your thoughts about how CrossFit can transition into, doing something like this where athletes are paid in some regard for, all their efforts so that they
Hmm.
can facilitate training all year?
Yeah, I know that. I mean, with the big things to come, with like Greg Glassman and stuff, from what I heard, that he like didn't allow some big sponsors to do the games. But with Eric, he's saying that he's going to let him. So I'm assuming there's going to be a lot more money in the sport. I'm not sure how they would decide to like give it out. If they just give out more prize money or pay out everyone that goes. I mean, who
Right.
knows if it's still going to be the national champions or what's going to happen with that, or if regionals. We don't know any of that, but assuming with the bigger sponsors they have, the more money they have, they can give out more money. But we'll see, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's money to be made. It's just about where the money's allocated. And the tough thing at the games, at least, is you can't rep your own sponsors. Like, you can't wear a consistency
Yeah,
breeds
yeah,
grow shirt out there. So, like, how are any of the
true.
brands that are endorsing you guys and providing the sponsorships able to, make money from
I'm
if
assuming
you have to
that's
wear Reebok stuff out there? But then
yeah, yeah.
they have jerseys for you for the athletes out there. I don't are any of the athletes making money from the jerseys that Reebok's selling?
Well, I'm not. Shoot, I'm not a Reebok athlete, dude. So
Right,
I'm not sure.
right. But
I
that would be
mean,
the only brand is Reebok.
yeah,
If you're
that
not a
would,
Reebok
and I'm
athlete, then
assuming that's something that's gonna change here pretty soon, but I'm not sure.
yeah,
Hopefully, because that's definitely, I mean, just like branding for athletes. If you have it out there on the floor, they definitely get paid more. That'd
yeah.
be a huge thing.
I mean,
So
this is
hopefully that's something that changes.
yeah, yeah. I agree. I think it should, and whether they are getting paid or not, I mean, it's only the Reebok that are getting paid.
Hmm.
If not, then you're not. And I mean, this is similar to what happens with the collegiate athletes, football collegiate athletes. They sell their jersey with the number on it, but the athletes aren't getting paid,
Yeah.
and obviously the universities have said, "Oh, but you get a free college education," but there's no way that this matches the amount of money, or even close to the amount of money
Yeah,
that
yeah.
these
Hmm.
athletes are making.
I
You
know that's
know?
a problem too over there.
Yeah, I mean, I get all about playing. Like, they don't want athletes playing for money, and this is why a lot of
Hmm.
people love college football. But I mean, at the same time, these athletes are putting their training just as hard or harder than professional athletes.
Yep.
So
And not making anything.
they're not making anything. So I mean, I'd say overall, like the CrossFit community, especially with some other sports that are individual sports. Let's take the UFC for example. The UFC is Ultimate Fighting Championship. I know a little bit about this because we work with some higher level athletes that are in the UFC and in Bellator and stuff, and their individual. I mean, the UFC started in 1993, and this is a decent amount of time prior to CrossFit, and now the UFC has become massive. They're able to pay all of their fighters a substantial amount, but they don't allow them to have sponsors um,
Hmm.
inside.
I didn't
Really,
even know
like
that.
they go and they fight and they have to wear Reebok gear.
Hmm.
You know, in Bellator it's a little bit different. In Bellator, which is the other another fighting association of mixed martial arts, they do allow sponsors. So there has to be something where if you're not going to allow people to wear their sponsored gear to the CrossFit Games to promote the brands that are paying them, presumably to help them get out to fly there and for their food, all these other things that are, that the athletes need, then you're going to have to start paying your athletes.
Hmm.
I
Does
mean,
UFC give them like a salary then?
yeah, UFC pays them every fight.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Pays them every fight. So if you fight, you get paid, and if you
Hmm.
win, you get paid, and you get extra money for like bonuses and stuff like that. And
Okay.
it's a Reebok sport, so I mean, there's not. I mean, obviously the sports are fairly different. People are getting
Hmm.
punched in the face, um, but it's still nonetheless like if there's money out there, it needs to be put in the hands of the people that are entertaining, and that's you
Yeah, yeah.
guys, right?
Yeah.
Like that seems really baffling to me that people are tuning in, watching the games. Obviously, CrossFit HQ is making the majority, if not all, the money, except for when they give the prize money away. And then all the people entertaining that don't step on the podium, they end up at a loss because you got to pay to get out there. You gotta you gotta
Yeah, pay
pay
for your
for all your
food,
food out
pay to
there.
get hotel, yep, all that
Yeah,
stuff.
I mean
It's a decent amount of money, yeah.
you get some gear, but
Yep. Well,
that's
shoot,
it. I
this year,
mean, so this has to change, in my opinion, and that's what we're here to talk about today. Mostly,
yeah.
I guess, to brainstorm this. Um, so that's one option. If they're not going to allow their sponsors, because once the sponsors grow, like for example, if my company grows as a result of you wearing a CBG shirt and talking about CBG when you're out there at the games and all these other things, then I'm able to provide you with more money. And CrossFit doesn't have to worry about it, right? But if
Yeah,
that
so
doesn't happen, my company doesn't grow because there's no
can't
brand
get it out there.
awareness
Yeah.
because my high level athletes, which you are our marketers, can't can't wear the
Can't market
shirts
you.
and the gear. Then what do you do?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like, yeah, there's pretty much just like two options they could do is give us like a salary for, well, competing at the games, obviously,
Right,
and then, or just let us wear whatever we want and sponsors can pay us better.
right,
But
right.
I don't know how, I mean, this is the last year that Reebok has us, but who knows what they're going to do now.
Yeah, maybe they'll shift it over. I did hear something about that.
I know with the whole Greg Glassman thing that Reebok like decided they weren't going to continue, but I don't know if they're going to continue now or what's going to happen.
Yeah, because they backed out after everything, and now they have to
Yep.
come back. Or
Mm-hmm. Well,
yeah,
they were under contract for this. This is their last year. They're under contract, so they had to do it this year, and then they pretty much said we're not going to do it anymore after this.
right, right. Yeah, I mean, another thing is like the sanctional events. Like if you go out there, you pay all this money, it's still the same thing.
Sure, yeah.
And you got to step on the podium to get paid. You know?
Yeah, dude. So when I went to the Mid Atlantic, like I got second, and I didn't even make enough to cover my hotel and flight and everything. It's ridiculous.
It doesn't make sense, man. It doesn't make
Yeah.
sense. And you need some time for the sport to build up, right? Like
Yep.
it's the first year of the sport, and that's a different story. But this has been over 10 years. You know, like
I know.
something's got to give. And this is why these bigger sanctional events, like even outside the U.S., look at Dubai, how much they get paid. You get an event win, you make more than what you make winning the entire Mid-Atlantic.
Yeah, seriously.
You know, so like there is money out there. People and CrossFit has to figure out a way to help this because you guys are training hardcore. I know that there are some top level females, right, that do make a lot of money from their sponsors outside.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and even some of the females, to be honest, and let's just call it what it is. Like some of them are, you know, they're not games athletes; they're competitive athletes, and they post booty pics on Instagram, and they make a lot of money.
Yep.
You know, so I mean, but this isn't this. It's not. There needs to be a way to correlate the competitiveness of the athlete with that of the money that they make, and obviously this is where managers comes in. I know a lot more CrossFit athletes now are looking into getting managers to handle the business side of stuff.
Yeah, no, I've seen that too. I don't have one personally, and I've kind of talked to my wife about it. I think that's something that I need to do in the near future, and I know a lot of athletes do have them.
Yeah, because they're like negotiating with your sponsors and stuff. Like, this is how much he's worth, and you don't need to do it on your behalf, you know.
Yeah.
Which it's good to have that, and they're out there like reaching out to people for you, you know.
Yeah, then they have the contacts and stuff.
Right. The other thing, you know, that I thought a lot about is where the money's going to at some of these sanctional events. So obviously, like at Wadapalooza, there are divisions galore.
Mm-hmm.
You know, does this do some of these scale divisions and other divisions that are out there take away from the money that could be put into the higher level athletes? You know, and I'm all about being inclusive and having people involved, but
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to higher level competitions, is this really the place?
Are they giving money to everyone at Wadapalooza?
I don't know, but
Oh, okay.
still, I mean, they're still like taking up time and resources and
Yeah.
everything else to get
Mm-hmm.
these people out there competing that they're not elite,
Yeah, yeah.
you know. And I'm not
I
talking
see what you're
about like
saying.
I'm not talking about like the teens and adaptive people.
Uh-huh.
I think
Yeah,
that
yeah.
this is great, but when it comes
'Cause-
to like, they
Yeah, they
have
have a lot of divisions there at Wadapalooza. Like they have Elite and then RX, and then I don't even know if they have scaled, like you said, but yeah, they have quite a few.
right, yeah. I mean, but you don't see this in other sports, you
Yeah,
know.
that's true.
You
Mm-hmm.
don't see it. So I'm not saying that we don't want everybody competing, but they have local competitions for this. I mean, if you're a
Yeah.
competitor and you want to grow in the sport and you want competition experience, um, you're going to pay a lot of money to get out to Wadapalooza anyway. You might as well
Yeah.
do something locally and grow you know, your level of experience as a competitor and get the feel for what it's like to be out there and competing against people that are as good as you or better than you. I
Yep,
don't know if I
exactly.
necessarily agree with having scaled divisions all throughout, and in even these random matchup divisions, like teams of two, and like this doesn't even show up at the high level, you
I
know.
know. I know.
So what
That
is?
doesn't make sense for me. Yeah, I
Yeah,
get that.
it's hard to like continue to say, yeah, we're gonna put. And I know, dude, I love competing too. It's great.
Hmm.
Um, but at the end of the day, like if you want the sport to grow, you have to start figuring out from a business. I mean, it's a business.
Yep.
At the end of the day, this is a business, you know. Um, and this is one tip that I was researching about for the athletes is, um, you have to think of yourself as a business. Like Sam Kwant, you are a business.
Hmm.
So like when you go for your taxes at the end of the year, you're a full time CrossFit athlete. Can you deduct your traveling expenses and your
Yeah.
equipment in
Yep,
the
I do.
gym?
I can.
You can, and you do,
Yep,
right?
I do. Yep. Hmm.
Because you're a business. Like you're a business entity. You are Sam Quant LLC or whatever. You
Yep.
know, that's
Yeah,
how it should be.
exactly.
That's how it should be.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm able to write off all traveling and equipment I buy and etc. like that,
Yeah.
which is nice.
Right.
But
Absolutely.
taxes are fun with how you make money with CrossFit games and all that jazz
Oh yeah.
all over
Jesus.
the place.
The now in terms of injury, so the CrossFit that you're not a CrossFit employee. So like
Nope.
when it also comes to like health insurance and stuff like that, like if you get injured out there
Hmm.
at like I know the UFC has it this way. If you get injured when you are, and the UFC needs to change this policy, I think. If you
Hmm.
get injured when you're in the fight, they take care of all your medical.
Okay.
But when you're training for like they're UFC employees, they're getting paid by the UFC. But there's no medical for the UFC fighters outside of the time that they're fighting.
Mm.
So like if they're preparing for a fight and they break their leg, that's on
Hmm.
them, which is crazy. Now with CrossFit, I don't think that there's anything like that, right? Like if you get
Nope, there's
injured
nothing.
out there, you're going through your own health insurance.
Hmm. Yep. Yeah, there's nothing like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
So this is
CrossFit should
something,
change first before the UFC.
right? At least the UFC offers something. Like at least when you're out there at the
Yeah.
games, that I mean that needs to be covered.
Yeah, no, definitely. No, I agree with you. That's something that should change.
Yeah. And I don't know, like I mean, personally, I think that they should cover your injuries all year long.
That would be nice.
You,
Definitely.
you know what I mean? Like if you need to see a PT and you need to do these other things, like that should be covered under medical insurance from CrossFit HQ.
Yeah,
Personally,
no, I agree with you. That'd be a game changer if they did something like that.
yeah. I mean, this is the way that I feel like that it's going because if not, this is what's happening. What Saxon and Spencer have done. They open a gym and they make money this way, and
Hmm.
obviously this sets them up for when their CrossFit careers are over. they have a business now that they can run and they can get CrossFit athletes in the door, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, you don't want to, that takes time away from your training, your nutrition, your mental game, your rehabilitation, all these things, sports psychology, all these things that, you know, are becoming increasingly important to be able to win in this sport.
No,
So,
yeah, it's a full-time sport pretty much if you want to be doing good.
yeah, I mean, you're training how many times a day in a given week? Like how many doubles, how many triples? Like how does this work?
It's just 5 days a week, 2 big sessions. It's pretty much not ever three. I just make it work in two.
Yeah, you
And it's
make it work
probably
in two
like
sessions.
usually like 5 hours a day. I mean, 5 hours that I'm in the gym, but that doesn't count for prepping my food and stretching and flossing and all that stuff and icing.
Right.
So it's pretty much a full-time job if you add all those things up.
Yeah.
It is. Shoot, because I'm not done until like 8 o'clock at night stretching plus. So
Yeah. And
yeah,
then I mean,
it's all day.
yeah, sleeping, resting,
Yep.
everything, you know.
And when I am chilling on the couch between sessions, like for an hour, I'm icing or compexing or something. So I'm always doing something
Right. Yeah.
or cooking.
Yeah, I mean, all this stuff has to be done if you want to
Yep.
be at the top of the sport,
hmm
regardless of your genetics or anything else.
No,
So,
definitely.
and I think, you know, especially there are other things too, like with CrossFit athletes where what about like retirement?
Yeah, there's nothing for that.
There's nothing for that. You know, how do you set yourself up after? I think, you know, one way a lot of athletes need to do this and they need to continue to think about ways to do this is how to extend their career if they do really truly love CrossFit and they want to
hmm
continue. How do they truly continue a career doing that? Is it through nutrition coaching, from
hmm
personal training, having a podcast,
Yeah.
becoming a CrossFit commentator? I mean, dude, some of these commentators on the games are terrible.
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
They're terrible. But
Yeah.
who would you rather? Someone who's like a recreational CrossFitter that's like pretty good,
hmm
commentating on, oh, look at this movement and how he's moving, or would you rather,
Or bashing on Travis Williams
yeah, or whatever
at the
it might
games,
be.
shoot, whatever his face is.
Yeah, but wouldn't you rather like Annie Thor's daughter like
Oh yeah,
commentating this? She knows what
that'd be
the hell's
awesome.
going on.
Yeah, no,
She
definitely. No,
knows.
I agree with you there.
Yeah, like
That I haven't really thought about that, but that'd be nice.
you can do that. I mean, this happens like, and I keep comparing to the UFC because there's 10 years ahead, but this is what's happening in the UFC. Like, they have fighters as the commentators,
hmm
you know?
Which is way better,
Right,
I'm
because they
sure.
know what's going on. They can
Yeah,
explain what's
exactly.
going on with
And know what the fighters exactly are thinking and everything.
exactly. And this is the same thing that you would be able to do when you see other fellow competitors after you've, you know, retired as a CrossFit
hmm
athlete. You would be able to pinpoint, okay, this is how I would break this up. Let's see if
Yeah, yeah.
somebody could do this unbroken. And some of the mechanisms as to what's gonna, what are some of the nuanced things that these commentators they're not competitors.
hmm
It's different.
No, definitely, definitely.
It's different, you know. Um, so I'm hoping that we highlighted at least some of these opportunities, and I think
Yeah,
that higher level athletes like it's time to get rid of like the brand ambassador thing. You know, this
yeah,
is
yeah.
something that's been for athletes where they basically they give 10% off of using code Quant. They get 10% off, and then you make a commission off of this. This type of brand ambassador stuff has been great. Now the sport has evolved, I think, and I think
Yeah.
these athletes, if you're a business, there's no more brand ambassador. It's look, I'm a high level athlete. I'm wearing your gear. I'm going to represent you. I support your mission as a business. And I'm a business and I need to get paid this amount. And it needs to be in a contract, it needs to be going. This is the way that I see the business elevating and
hmm
allowing, these people to do this. Or the CrossFit Games needs to start paying.
Yeah, yeah. Either of those, I think, would work pretty well. It would
Absolutely.
definitely would work, no doubt.
Absolutely. And, this is overall, it's hard to make that shift, but this is the way I think the competitive side of the sport really starts to launch itself.
Yeah. And I think with Eric, I think something's definitely going to happen like this. At least I'm hoping, and it sounds like it's going to.
Yeah. Yeah, because ideally, my dream is to, be out there prepping food for you at the games.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do that. They have meal companies, obviously, that are out there and they're providing food, but we offer a customized approach to your nutrition. We know what you need. We know what foods you like. And I want to be out there, obviously this year with the pandemic, I wouldn't be able to go out there anyway, but eventually I want to be able to be out there and doing that.
Yeah, you definitely should be. I didn't even know they wouldn't let you. I guess it doesn't really surprise me with everything else they do, but
this year, just there's no coaches really being able to go out there is what I mean.
I get this year because everything's going on, but and past and stuff.
Exactly. But eventually, I would want to be able to go out there, right? And if I'm providing this service to you, prepping all of your food, getting all your food, you would make the money from CrossFit. And if you wanted a nutritionist on site like myself, you would pay me to be out there to cook your food. Right now, you have no way of paying anybody to help, anything.
Yeah, I know.
This is why companies are, some companies, they sponsor athletes and they offer free programming, free nutrition, and other things like that, which based on the current status of the sport, that's what we're doing. But eventually, maybe it gets to a point to where, if we're offering program to high-level athletes and nutrition to high-level athletes, and the athlete wants that programming and they think it's going to elevate and optimize their performance, they get paid from CrossFit or from other sponsors that, gear and, Compex USA, all of these other, things where they can actually get compensated. And then that money can trickle down into building a team around you that is going to help you win the CrossFit Games.
Yeah.
No,
definitely. I agree with you.
That's what I see the vision is. That's what I hope that the CrossFit world and the fitness world can do in the future, to be honest.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for too. And I think the future looks bright with Eric and stuff, so
yeah,
I'm excited about it.
I think Eric's really going to make some good changes. And I hope that, the sport continues to grow on a competitive side, because that's the sport that I love to watch, and I love watching you guys compete out there, and that's what I want to continue doing with my business, and for my business to grow, for you to grow. I think these are some good brainstorming ideas, at least.
Yeah. No, definitely. Just brainstorming on here.
That's it. Just coming up with stuff. Who knows? There's probably so many other avenues, but it's been super fun, man. I really appreciate you coming on this early in the morning with the podcast. Definitely, I want to give you the opportunity to let everybody know, where they could find you. I know I kind of rambled a lot during the podcast and stuff about different things, but we've talked a lot about this, and we're on the same page. In an agreement with how to, improve the sport. But I definitely want to give you the opportunity. Where can people find you on Instagram? Maybe find you on Facebook, other social media, email, etc.
So my Instagram's just Samuel Kwant. Just Samuel Kwant, and the same for Facebook. And if anyone did want to email me, it's samuelkwant@gmail.com, and I definitely look on there a couple times a day, and I'll reply to you.
Yeah, absolutely. So go give them a sponsorship.
There we go. Yeah.
Go email.
Yeah, I need a manager too. So if any managers are listening to this, hit me up.
Hit them up. Okay, awesome, dude. Thanks for coming on today. Everybody's going to be watching you at the games. Come from behind, like you do every year, as the dark horse of the male division. And talk to you soon, man. Thanks for coming on.
Hey, right on. Thanks for having me.
Later, Sam.